Coming up on this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society, W is for We Would Like to Play. The palace has a false wall, so the Nintendo Cartridge Society has a false wall with you. Welcome to Nintendo Cartridge Society. My name is Patrick Ellers, and I am joined, as I'm always joined by my co-host, Mark Mitchell. Would normally say we got a good show for you today, blah, 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 but this is a rare Tuesday episode that is not about the news.
Yeah, that's right.
Instead, this is part 2 of our ABCs of Nintendo multiplayer. I normally kick it over to you by going, Mark, how's it going? So Mark, how's it going?
It's going great. You know, I feel like you've made it when your home or palace has a false wall. When you're living
Truly,
a life
yes,
where at any moment you might need to escape because either the people closest to you or the people that you control could
uprise
could
against you.
uprise against you at any moment.
Right.
You know you've
And
made
if you
it.
have a palace, you know that is incoming.
Yes.
That is moments away.
There's always a chance.
Right. You've made it when you have a false wall that you can escape through.
Yeah.
Or
Try to anyways.
Hide a heart piece container behind.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. Yes.
That's
yes.
That's like you feel like you've made it when you have a bidet or something, but you haven't. It's not until the false wall is installed. That
bidet behind a false wall. That's true living.
That really is. And something to which none of us should ever try to aspire. It's too lofty. Mark, I've recently moved. And for a while we weren't getting mail, and we thought it was because we had the house originally had a door with a mail slot, and we got a new door, and so therefore put a mailbox on the front door. And we're like, okay, how do we fix this? Go online and look it up, and it's talk to the postmaster, and it's what? So anyway, I went into the post office and was like, hey, I have this problem, and it was a moment of realization where it's the post office and the people delivering your mail are people who have to make some assumptions about when places are empty and when they should get mail and when they shouldn't. And so they just talk to my mail carrier and now everything's fixed. But it's for something that feels like a cold, disconnected system, it's insane how much it's just people.
Yeah. And we just take it for granted.
Yeah, totally. And we were mad about it. We're like, why are we getting our mail? It's because the person hasn't been told to do it yet. Very strange, easy to fix though. Did just in fact have to talk to a postmaster. Mark, if people don't want to hear about that, but want to hear about us talking about movies, they can go over to patreon.com/Nintendo Cartridge Society, where if they're supporting at the 8-bit or the 16-bit levels, they get access to our once-a-month episodes of miniseries. In this case, NCS at the Movies.
Yes, a miniseries in which Patrick and myself, and usually a special guest, are going to the movies, usually together, seeing a movie, and then talking about it.
Definitely together.
Yes, we had some great discussions about Superman, about the Fantastic Four First Steps, about The Naked Gun, about One Battle After Another, about The Running Man, about Tron Ares, about Wake Up Dead Man,
about Schmidt. Not one of them.
But yeah, all a lot of fun, all worth checking out, and you can do that over at the Patreon. In addition to past miniseries and content that's available at the free and 4-bit levels, so there's something for everybody. Go check it out.
I just got a text from my friend Andrew in a text thread that just says, with a bunch of other friends, that it's just a question. It says, people like Sebulba?
Maybe related to that Star Wars racing game that was
yes.
announced?
That and actually, now that I am looking at the text, he is including the trailer for Star Wars Galactic Racer. But Andrew, of course people like Sebulba. Don't be dense. He's cool. He walks on his hands.
Yeah.
Drives with his legs.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a leathery mustache. He drives real fast.
Yeah. I mean, we all aspire to be Sebulba.
Of course people like Sebulba. What are we even talking about here? Join our Discord if you would like to tell me that you don't like Sebulba, which is insane. Email us, Nintendo Cartridge Society at
gmail.com.
and I will send you an invitation. All right, Mark, we need to... Oh, no, before we get into finishing our ABCs of Nintendo multiplayer, just a little note that we will not have an episode this Thursday or next Tuesday. We're off for the holidays here, so Merry Christmas Eve right now. And we will be back on January 1st for a New Year's Day episode, sort of recapping the year, probably a Wows and Whiffs episode. But Mark, let's get into it. Let's conclude our ABCs of Nintendo multiplayer. Last week we did A through M. Now we are starting with N. Mark, would you like to go first, or would you like to go second?
I think I went first in the first part, so why don't you go?
Okay, I will go first with my N, and this is where I'm going for a little bit of a cheat here, because my N is for 99, which is how you would spell the numbers 99, even though it's not how it appears in the titles of these games. I'm, of course, referring to Tetris 99, Pac-Man 99, F-Zero 99. An absolutely killer game concept that takes your favorite sort of classic video games and represents them as a you versus 98 other players. And like Tetris 99 is, as previously stated multiple times on the show, my game of the year every year since it came out. It's sort of a perfect way to present Tetris. I love Tetris 99. I appreciate greatly Pac-Man and F-Zero 99. They're, just a little bit less my style of game than Tetris is. But man, I love the absolute chaos that comes from playing against 100 other people.
Yeah, Tetris 99 is pretty incredible. Every time I go in for like a Tetris Maximus Cup, it is a lot of fun. I haven't touched F-Zero 99 for
it's been a while for me too. Yeah.
A while now. It would be fun. I know that they've done a lot of updates to the game, so it would be interesting to go back and into it and see what it is now. Yeah, I think this is a great one. Has been such a fun feature of Nintendo Switch Online, and even though it only lasted for a limited time and was 35 instead of 99, I would throw Super Mario Brothers 35 in there
totally
as well. That same sort of like taking a game and turning it into an almost like battle royale type experience.
Well, and that's the thing is that like Nintendo's not inventing this idea necessarily, right? Because like the battle royale, like that's a PUBG sort of invention, and then Fortnite perfecting. But that like taking that overall concept and taking the sort of like combat out of it and being like, no, we can do this with any gameplay style. Is just so smart, and like I feel like something that you don't really see too many other places. Like maybe Fall Guys is another take on this that is enough of a change. But like, yeah, I think that the 99 games are just so good and so smart.
My N is for Nintendo Land. And the game I specifically want to call out is Luigi's Ghost Mansion, or as me and my friends would always call it, Roast That Ghost.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
do you have to say it like you're putting things up on a board? Like,
roast that ghost. So Nintendo Land is, one of the best examples of using the Wii U's gamepad for a unique multiplayer experience where,
yes,
you have like
asynchronous
multiplayer, I think is what they called it. So you have people in this game specifically, in Luigi's Ghost Mansion, you have like other people who are using Wii remotes, and they're looking at the main TV, like the main screen, and you're in like a spooky haunted mansion going from room to room. Your goal is to find there's this gold ghost that's being controlled by the person using the Wii gamepad, and their goal is to scare you, to make you faint, and to make everybody faint. And the people using the Wii remotes, their goal is to shine a flashlight on the ghost for long enough to
And they
like,
can't
make
see the
disappear.
ghost.
Yes,
Only the person controlling the ghost can on the gamepad.
Yes, and when the ghost is nearby, they can feel the Wii remote shake. That's how
Right.
they know that the ghost is near them. But you're right, they can't see the ghost. And there are some other like fun mini games in Nintendo Land, I think.
There's like the Metroid one.
And I think where you're like trying to catch the one character who's like running around.
Yeah.
Like that
That's
one's fun. But for me, Luigi's Ghost Mansion was the most fun, the one we played the most, and Nintendo Land was probably maybe the best expression of that asynchronous multiplayer.
Yeah, probably. And maybe like the only really like New Super Mario Brothers U had where like that the player with the gamepad could create platforms for the
Mhm.
others to run on, but like yeah, I'm a little bit hard pressed to think of too many more that were explicitly multiplayer like that.
Right. And it was such a good idea, but limited in how they could execute it.
Right.
But Nintendo Land is a good execution of that idea.
Yes, 100% agree.
All right. So now my O is for online connections. And I don't mean that in like the technical aspect of setting up.
Are you connected or not?
Yes.
Right.
How I mean it is that Nintendo was wary of online play. When everybody else when Sony and Microsoft were really, like getting into it and making that a big feature of their systems, Nintendo was dabbling. They were, introducing
Dithering.
They were introducing features that had online play, but they weren't all in.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know if they've ever been like all in.
Totally. Well, and I think there is an aspect of like Nintendo always presents itself and like its first party products as family friendly and safe, right? If they're going to put out a game that is a little bit more violent or scary or none of them have sexual anything in them, they make it really explicit, and like the Nintendo parental controls have like always been top notch. And when you introduce online or the ability to like talk to anyone or see user generated content, you cede the ability to control how family friendly the game is.
Yeah, it becomes a variable out of their control. And so even though they were wary of online, they were always interested in its potential to foster some sense of community. So like in the Wii, you had like Me Parade, you had the like Everybody Votes channel where it was essentially
Pin in that though.
okay, but it was like
Yes.
you had experiences like that. You had the Miiverse, and finally you have game chat. So I feel like a lot of how Nintendo approaches online is like, how do we continue to foster that community, that sense of connection?
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
and like you would see that in game in a lot of them too, especially during the Wii U of like the Wind Waker like bottles, messages in bottles, or in Splatoon where those like custom banners that people could make. Yeah, it clearly is something that's been front of mind for them, and like trying to figure out how to actually do it in a way that won't scandalize everyone is tough and important for them to be like working on. Okay, so that's your O was online connections.
Yep.
My O, I was worried that it is possible that we would overlap on this one, but I'm glad that we didn't, because my O is Overcooked. A game that is obviously available to play on basically every platform now, but is the quintessential it's co-op, but is it competitive? It's co-op, but you hate your friends game, which is an incredible. It's a top-down perspective, and you are cooking in a kitchen where like crazy things happen, and it's all about process. And so it's like you get an order for a hamburger with cheese, cheeseburger, some would call that, and then also another hamburger that is just lettuce and tomato, and you have to like get the bread, you have to chop the meat, fry the meat, put these things on in the right order, and then serve it. But like,
and it's all on like timers.
It's all on timers, yes. And is just like you have to coordinate with people, with like everyone in the room, to make sure that like you're not duplicating work, or that like you're getting dishes done on time or whatever. But it's also a thing where like you can never communicate enough, right? In some ways you just need to you just need hyper situational awareness and just to man, the number of times that I failed out of one of those with either a bunch of friends or just me and Sarah playing and being like, okay, this time we're going to do this. And then the plan falls apart within 10 seconds because you get separated or the part of the kitchen burns down or whatever. It's just it is multiplayer chaos incarnate and maybe the perfect expression of this. Yeah, I love Overcooked.
Yeah, it's so good. That's such a good one.
My P is for Power Pad, the NES accessory that allowed you to play the world-class track meet games, the track and field games. And it was a side-by-side thing where you would both be running on the pad to race in real time. A cool precursor to the motion control multiplayer of the Wii era, but just in terms of running around on a little mat.
Yeah. Man, the Power Pad, I had so much fun with it, even though the only game we ever owned that used it was World Class Track and Field.
Yeah.
But it got so much use outside of a Nintendo accessory. We would use it as a cape. We would use it as to drape over some chairs to make a cave.
Absolutely. Oh, it is a mainstay in fort building.
Yeah,
because it's a little bit sturdier than a blanket and kind of crinkly. Yeah, it's crazy that and it simply has to be because it's something that you run and jump on, but it's so sturdy. I never heard of those things breaking.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I mean,
and mind you have to take off your shoes.
Yeah, good call.
Did you ever have a friend come over and or if it was at someone else's house and a friend didn't take off their shoes and were running on it with shoes and people were like, no?
I don't remember ever having a shoe problem, but we would definitely use our
fists.
hands. Yeah.
See, I remember friends doing that too and then being like, that's not faster than your feet. Your feet move faster than your hands.
Yeah, that could be true.
What do you mean could be? Your feet are so fast, Mark.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. That sounds nice.
The difference is that you just don't do big steps. You do tiny little steps. If you're running in real life, tiny steps not useful. But if you're running on the Power Pad, tiny steps great because it just reads a step. So that's all. That's all. You just do tiny little steps. It's the funniest thing. I'm just
yeah.
I wonder if the microphone picked that up at all. I pounded my feet on the floor real fast. Yes, the Power Pad. Mark.
Yeah, very good.
Your P.
My P is for Pokemon.
Oh, yeah.
A series that from the very beginning, multiplayer has been such a big component of. The ability to link Game Boys together to battle or to share Pokemon between systems. All of that is so inherent to what Pokemon is and continues to be. It's pretty remarkable that they nailed it on the first go.
Yeah. It's interesting. Your A for the previous episode was Animal Crossing, and I think there's a lot of similar DNA here where yeah, in Pokemon you can battle against each other, but in a lot of ways it's just it's you interacting with the world of Pokemon, me interacting with the world of Pokemon, and then coming together to be here's what I experienced from that. Here are the Pokemon I encountered. Would you like to trade with me or would you like to battle with me? That it's us versus the world and then sort of comparing notes, which is, I don't know. It's very cool and compelling. Lets the game be both very compelling as a single player experience and then even more so as a multiplayer experience.
Yep. All right. Up next is my Q. And my Q.
Yeah, how did you do on this one? Did you? Because I was Q. This is the last one I got to.
This is the last one I got to as well, and I tossed and turned.
Yeah, and I cheated.
And I feel okay about where I ended up.
Okay, great.
Yeah, my Q is just questionable, and it's because Nintendo generally has crappy online infrastructure.
Sure. This is a little bit like your eye from last week.
Yeah, a little bit. It's just just can't really n- rely on it to work across the board. There are times when Nintendo like knocks it out of the park and it's a seamless experience. I feel like Mario Kart has been good about that. I feel like Splatoon has generally been pretty good about that
Yep.
because they are series that are so focused on or have become so focused on that like online component. But then you get other experiences like when they introduce online play into a 2D Mario platformer. And in those cases, like you just never really know what you're going to get. And maybe it's because those teams just don't have the experience or the skill of, teams working on the more online focused experiences. I don't know. It's just, yeah.
Yeah, well, there's some of that that's just like is just so much more like uh instant to instant dependent, like in those Mario in a Mario platformer, like you run into each other, and so like it needs to read the physics of two different players on different sides of who knows where they are, and then like that collision detection has to like be calculated into all of that. um and it's why the Super Mario Brothers Wonder online multiplayer with like the kind of ghosts of people playing with you um, makes a little bit more sense. Like you don't have to interact.
Yeah.
Like they can just sort of like go throughout, and like Splatoon, obviously you're interacting, but like the instant, like you don't need to know the instant that ink has been spilt on your half of the map. That can happen a fraction of a second later, and it doesn't really hurt the gameplay experience.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
My cue, and I don't want to step on any of your later entries, so maybe we'll have to talk about this only a little bit. But the SquareSoft Super NES RPGs
Very good.
that allowed for multiplayer, including, featuring Secret of Mana specifically, but then also the Final Fantasy games. Final Fantasies 2 and 3 allowed for multiplayer where I think 2 was just like you both players could control like anyone at any time. In the Final Fantasy 3/6, you could assign different characters to the second player controller. So like if I was playing with a friend and they like weren't good at doing the blitz inputs, that like you could set Sabin to second player and I would be controlling him and would do the left right left to do the pummel, and or whatever. It's menu based combat, so it's a little bit strange, to a strange thing to enable multiplayer. But they did it, and Secret of Mana is has got this like top down sort of Zelda like combat. But there were 3 playable characters and includes a multi tap, or not includes. You could buy a multi tap so that you could play as all 3 characters at once, with 3 different people. Just a really interesting approach to doing RPGs on the Super NES and being like, yeah, we've got multiple controllers. These should be multiplayer.
I think it's especially ambitious in something like Secret of Mana where it's real time.
Yes.
All of it is happening. You're all marching on that screen together.
Yep.
Pulling up that little like action wheel.
Yeah, that's
and,
right.
like it's all like that. Like the menu-based combat almost makes more sense to me given the technology.
It makes more sense, but is also like, what is the point of it? Where it's like, I have just as much control over what that character does by telling you like, oh yeah, you should cast fire, you know what I mean? Than like being the one who selects it. But for whatever reason, that just like adds another layer of. In practice, it was mostly like, hey, it's your turn. Hey, it's your turn. Hey, it's your turn to go.
Also interesting that it's something that they clearly tried a couple of times and then
right.
Didn't follow up on it. Didn't
Right.
become a major part of the series or anything like that.
Yes, so that's my cue is SquareSoft RPGs.
Very good.
On the Super NES. All right, which brings us now to my R. Yes.
Yes.
What was your cue?
Questionable.
Questionable, that's right. Thank you. My R is Raving Rabbids. Or Rayman Raving Rabbids. So this was a spin-off of the Rayman series that premiered on the Wii, and was like a mini game collection, and sort of introduced the world to the Rabbids, sort of proto minions with rabbit ears. And like it's all motion based, kind of very much Wii mini game stuff. But man, I remember playing a bunch of these at friends' houses. Never owned one myself. Do you have much experience with the Rabbids games?
No, I had forgotten that this was the genesis of Rabbids.
Yes, it's so weird and backdoor, especially considering that like, for the last decade they've really only been in the Mario versus Rabbids games or Mario plus Rabbids, I guess. Kingdom Battle and
Sparks of Hope.
Sparks of Hope. Thank you. Yeah, that like they just evolved into something else. But yeah, they were a party game for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great one. We kind of touched on it a little bit in last week, but I wanted to talk about Rock Band because it was Guitar Hero was great. You had like Guitar Hero 3. That's really when the series exploded. Played a ton of Guitar Hero, and then when Rock Band came out, where it was not just guitars, but you also had vocals, you also had a little drum kit.
Oh yeah.
Like I spent a lot of time with friends playing a lot of Rock Band, and later Guitar Hero World Tour, but especially Beatles Rock Band. That was one that just kind of like perfect. Because you would play Rock Band, or sorry, like Guitar Hero or even Rock Band, and there would be songs that I wasn't familiar with or whatever.
Which can be fun. It can be a way to discover music. Like, the end of Guitar Hero 3 when that Dragon Force song "Through the Fire and the Flames" comes on, and you're like, "What is this thing? It's insane!" And a song that like I don't think I would have liked encountering it any other way. But now I'm like, oh yeah, "Through the Fire and the Flames." It's a classic song. But yes, I know exactly what you're driving towards here. That like Beatles Rock Band, every song is great. And on top of that, it like has a visual and aesthetic identity that can be its own thing. That's not just like the scuzz of rock clubs, which doesn't always make sense. Like sometimes you're playing like a Killers song, and you're like, it doesn't really make sense that like the Killers would be playing in this like crappy little club,
right?
They'd be at like a stadium show or something, or and you're playing anything that just like doesn't fit in that environment. But the Beatles is so carefully crafted to look and sound the right way for those songs.
Yeah, so to me that's like the perfect Rock Band game.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think every component of it, doing like guitar, doing drums, doing vocals, all of it can be enjoyable. All of it is a lot of fun. And when you're all working in harmony and it goes well, that's a great time too.
Very good. So your R was Rock Band. Now your S.
My S is stealing stars in Mario Party.
Oh.
So, in Mario Party, you earn stars throughout like a board, but the winner is determined by like who has the most stars at the end.
Yes.
And hey, the game may just decide to take stars away from you.
Sure. And it may decide to award other people with stars for no reason.
Yes. And I feel like there is this, to my mind, very Nintendo element. I feel like Mario Kart has this as well, where there's this like leveling of the playing field that has like a random element where it's like, yeah, you may be dominating in Mario Kart, but somebody might get an item, somebody might send a blue shell that just at the random right time knocks you off of a jump or something like that and sets you behind,
Right.
Same in like Mario Party. You might have been doing
even more so in Mario Party.
You might have been doing like really well, and then the random element of the game just decides, nope, like we are taking those away or we're rewarding somebody more, and even though you did great in the mini games, you have now lost because that's just the way this game works.
What's funny? I thought you stealing stars was going to be more along the line of, at least in the modern Mario parties. I can't remember how far back this goes, but there's usually like a boo on the board that will let you steal a star from another player if you pay it, and it's like 10 more coins than it would cost to actually buy the star, and is a million times more useful than buying a star, because not only are you reducing another player's star count by 1, you are increasing yours, and you decide which player you're stealing from.
Yeah.
So it's like, it is the thing, other people may be like aiming for that Toad or Toadette or whatever that moves around the board with the star to buy, but like, forget that. Go for the Boo. The Boo is, if anyone has a star, the Boo is a million times better stealing the stars. It will, it's a real bad blood boiler, right? Because people will get mad about it. Because you're stealing their star and targeting them specifically. But yeah, to your point about, and this is goes back to your everyone, your E from last week. That Sarah and I were just reflecting on last Christmas playing Mario Party Jamboree with her nieces, and like that everyone could kind of play and have like an equal chance of winning. Because like there's so much randomness to the game, and there's so much like once they realize like, oh, I should be stealing stars, it's not a hard thing to realize, but like it is it's everyone can learn the strategy really quick.
Yeah.
And you don't have to be great at the mini games. And like some of the mini games will be confusing to new players, some of the mini games will be confusing to older players, and it's just like it feels like the great leveler Mario Party.
And I feel like even something like Smash Brothers, part of the reason that series I think is so successful is because of items. And you know,
I agree with this.
The amount of damage that items can, like the different items can do, is so variable. So it's not that like if you are a really good Smash player, you might, like
you probably, if you're a really good Smash player,
like there's a chance you'll lose. But if it's just like a group of people, like casual players getting together, everybody has a pretty good shot. It's not as technical in that way as like somebody jumping into Street Fighter or a Mortal Kombat or something.
Right. And like you can do custom rule sets or whatever to like make it more of a technical fighter, but I like the default is not that.
Yeah.
Mark, my S is Snipper Clips.
So good.
I mentioned last week that the day the Saturday after the Switch came out, Sarah and I went to a coffee shop, put the Switch on the table, took off the Joy-Cons, played a game together. This is the game that we played. Snipper Clips, a Switch 1 launch game, published by Nintendo, although not developed by them. That you play as these 2 or up to 4 little shapes that they can jump, they can walk, they can rotate, and they can cut each other out into different shapes. And that's a fun like environment for puzzle solving, but it is also, these characters have so much personality, and they seemingly get perverse joy out of cutting each other. Sometimes they're startled, but a lot of times they seem to like it. And yeah, Snipper Clips rules.
Yeah, it's so much fun. One of the few games that like around again the Switch launch time that my husband was interested in playing, and so we would play it together. And just like Overcooked, one of those terrific couch multiplayer experiences where one of you is standing by the TV and being like, no, like you cut me here, and then
scoop me, make me a scoop. A different, like a scoop the other way.
Yes.
Yeah. A lot of pointy, a lot of angry tapping of the screen.
Yeah, but all in good fun.
Of course. Yes. So that's my S is Snipper Clips. Moving on to my T. Possibly another place where we have overlap here, Mark. I think it's possible. Triforce Heroes is my T.
Oh, interesting. That's my Z.
Okay, great. Let's save it. Let's save it for the Z conversation.
Okay.
But of course, just putting a pin in it, we are talking about the Legend of Zelda Triforce Heroes.
Yeah, I mean, any opportunity, right?
Yes.
My T.
It's tough to come up with a Z. Like, it is genuinely
especially,
tough.
I mean, thank God that Zelda exists, right?
Yeah, otherwise I don't know how we would do these things.
I mean, I guess
what did I do for... Oh no, I've got another great Z.
Oh, okay.
I've got a great Z.
Oh,
don't
cool.
worry.
Then we'll be going out on a high note.
That's right.
My T,
because we'll be talking about Triforce Heroes. You mean?
My T is for trust, and I mean this specifically because there are some like games that exist that just don't work as a video game on the Super Nintendo. Because I'm thinking specifically of Clue. We had a copy of Clue.
You're gonna have to walk me through.
Yeah, we had a copy of Clue for Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
And it is basically just like the board game. So the reason I have trust in here is because the process of playing it was, okay, I'm about to see my Clue card. Everybody
I
like
understand.
look away. Everybody close your eyes.
Right.
Because there's no other way to do this. It's not we're all sharing one screen.
Yeah, that's so interesting because like that's also that trust component is a little bit of like the 4-player split screen in like GoldenEye or any of those rare games where it's like I am trusting you not to just watch my screen and play that way,
Right.
which is a misplaced trust. Everyone's watching your screen.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
You can't help it.
No, it's not really a system that works. But you had no other choice.
Boy, that's funny. Clue on the Super
It was
NES.
such a bad idea.
Why would you bother? Why not just play Clue?
I feel that way sometimes about like a Monopoly, or I mean, they made a whole Clubhouse Games, 51 of those games that you're like, I feel like I could just play this.
But there are 51 of them, I
Yeah.
think is the difference. And also like it will calculate stuff for you, which can sometimes be helpful.
Sure, yeah.
But yeah,
No, Clue especially
Clue
is
especially.
yeah, where it's like, okay, we dealt all the machine dealt all the cards, so now let's all take turns not watching the TV while one person can, like see their deck,
Yeah,
see their hand. I don't know. It was a very funny experience.
Yeah, that's good. I like that a lot. Have you played? When's the last time you played a like just a straight up board game adaptation on like a game console? I'm trying to remember. I don't think I have in like a really long time.
Yeah, I don't think I have either. I mean, honestly, it was probably something in
Clue on the
Clubhouse
Super
games.
NES.
Yeah.
I guess outside of Clubhouse games, there was a Clue Master Detective Edition on PC that I remember playing a lot of, which like blew the mansion out with like a bunch of extra rooms and like characters and stuff, and I liked that. And remember just justifying it as like, oh, it would be hard to have this much more stuff in the board game, but it probably wouldn't. Probably be fine. Your U, Mark?
My U is for Underdog. And I'm using this as an opportunity to talk about Madden 97 for the Super Nintendo.
Great.
So this is the Madden game I have played the most. It was Madden 97.
2 years after the Nintendo 64 came out.
Yeah, 2 years after the Nintendo 64 came out. And, you could set different scenarios. You could be playing in the snow. You choose, like the teams that you're playing as. There's little voice clips from John Madden.
So for the most part, the Madden series had moved over to PlayStation at this point, right?
It must have.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they were still making Super Nintendo entries, and me and my siblings would play this a lot. And this was also a time when we were really interested in Rudy, the underdog story.
Mm-hmm. The movie, the Sean Astin,
yeah, that's right, about a kid going to play Notre Dame football.
Mm-hmm. And he's little, but he's got a lot of heart.
He's got a lot of heart.
Mm-hmm.
And so we would.
I've never seen Rudy.
You've never seen Rudy?
No.
Okay. Well, I mean, you get the
I
gist
get
of
it.
it.
Yeah. They carry him off the field at the end. Yeah.
Uh-huh. And this was a big movie in our house, and so we used Madden to create Rudy scenarios as much as we possibly could, given the limited, capabilities.
Man, what if John Madden was in Rudy?
I mean, no.
He might be, for all I know.
He's not.
I've never seen it.
Pretty sure he's not. Pretty sure he doesn't show up.
Hey Siri, is John Madden in the movie Rudy? No, it says Sean Astin played Rudy, which is not what I asked.
That's not. Yeah. So yes, underdog scenarios, Madden 97. The most fond memories I have of playing a football game outside of NFL Blitz, where you could just like make organs explode in extreme close up. So
I love that. I always forget that you have an affinity for Madden 97 on the Super NES.
Yep.
That's a great piece of Mitchell trivia. My U is much more down the middle. It's the ultimate in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. obviously a fighting game with both online and local multiplayer. I can't believe that they do this like eight player gameplay where you can have 8 people in a room just beating each other up. It's sort of incredible. One of the things I've always praised Smash Brothers for is that when you pick a character, their move sets feel like they do in the games that they come from. So basically, anyone who's ever played a video game will have a character in there that they can like sort of control intuitively. It's nuts that that's true, but it is. It's just the ultimate expression of the Super Smash Brothers formula. And like, yeah, obviously a game that sold incredibly well on Switch One, and was just like the topic of conversation for years and years and years as they rolled out additional characters. It's just sort of the game that keeps on giving.
And another one that has managed to maintain its core DNA for so long. So each entry like iterates a ton, brings new additions, but also maintains like the legacy of the previous ones. So let's say you haven't played a Smash Brothers since the Wii era or even the GameCube. You can come to Ultimate and have a rudimentary understanding of how the game works and have a fine time. You're not going to be an immediate expert because the game has evolved. But I mean, they still support GameCube controllers.
Yes.
It's incredible the amount of craft that goes into maintaining the legacy of that series.
Yeah, and that like the legacy of the series, but also like the legacy of the player base, right? That like that's part of what makes it such a successful multiplayer game in a lot of the same ways that Mario Kart does too. That like everyone has had a season with Mario Kart or a season with Smash Brothers, and Ultimate welcomes those players. So, a very good game, obviously. Now for my V. This is for votes. This is for the Everybody Votes channel on the Wii. How cool that there were channels on the Wii. Just other things you could do with it. But the Everybody Votes channel, it would just like put up a question of like, which do you prefer, chunky or creamy peanut butter? And then you would vote, and then you could see like breakdowns by region, globally, whatever. And this was in there for no reason, just to be like kind of fun, just to pretend that you're existing within a global network of Wii users. I say pretend, but I guess it's not pretend, it's
it was
real.
for real.
But like, why was that valuable?
And
what did that add?
The way they would present it was really fun too, is a bunch of different Miis would run onto the screen, and it would be like proportionally accurate. They'd be wearing different colored shirts depending on the answer, and it'd be proportionally like match the percentage of people who voted one or the other. Yeah, it was just kind of I remember, I think they would ask a question and it would be valid for like, it'd be up for like the 3 or 4 days or a week or something like that. Then you'd have to come back and check the answer. And I absolutely engaged with this all the time.
Like for a long time, probably like a year, but still, like, I feel like the outlet for this kind of thing now is in these Splatoon Splatfests, where you like pick which of the which monster you would want to hang out with or whatever. Maybe we should go back through old Everybody Votes questions.
That would be super fun.
Determine our answer to all of these things. There was a while where Nintendo was encouraging you to vote on pointless stuff.
My V is for voice chat. Something that Nintendo, I guess, like, has finally embraced and built into the system directly with Game Chat on the Switch 2. But previously, was just another thing that they were doing their own way. There was actually a video on Did You Know Gaming recently about voice chat. And I think in the video they talk about among the reasons that Nintendo on the Switch, there was no voice chat in the system. Specific games could support it if they chose to, but
you didn't see it in first-party games, for example.
Right, and there was no system-wide support for voice chat. The way you did it was through a Nintendo Switch or a Nintendo Switch Online app, and that was my understanding, and from like the reporting that's out there, the reasons they did that are like multiple. One of them was you were talking about, I think last week, that game chat takes up a ton of system resources in order to run, and that they didn't want to do that on the Switch, to have like dedicated resources to voice chat. But then also this Did You Know Gaming video was basically saying that there was a law in the US that was supposed to go into effect in 2015, and I don't know that it actually ever ended up happening, but that if you had voice chat, you would also have to have like voice to text readers and like that sort of thing.
Oh,
And
interesting.
so their sort of way to support that but not have to dedicate system resources to it was through the
phone app.
Yeah, was through the phone.
And you currently can't do voice chat through the phone anymore, right?
Oh, I that could be true. Well, I feel like they must have it somewhere for Switch owners.
Yeah, I pulled it up now, and I don't really see how to do it now.
But we did it a couple of times, almost as like a novelty more than anything, just to see how it worked, and it worked fine. But it was just like one of those quirky Nintendo multiplayer online infrastructure things.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where you're like, why don't we just call each other?
Right.
Or get on Discord or anything like that. So,
and now it's like not a thing because game chat exists, but for a long time was a differentiator for Nintendo Online. Next up is my W.
Your W.
All right, this is the big one. It's Wii Sports.
Yeah, pretty hard to argue with.
Maybe like
it's the reason for the season.
It is. It's kind of like the perfect multiplayer experience. It's all the things that we've talked about Nintendo doing so well. Anybody can pick up and play it. It's appropriate for all ages. You can have a good time doing it. I think it's the perfect multiplayer video game experience.
Yeah, and part of that is we've talked about this a lot recently, I feel like, but that it includes a tennis game, which like is the foundation of video gaming in that it's a reflection of Pong. But like just like Pong, the like control method for Wii Sports Tennis is so intuitive that everyone gets it, and everyone has fun with it without thinking about it.
Yep.
And it is the thing that in some ways I almost feel like the Wii is named after Wii Sports. You know what I mean? Like I know that's not true. I know that the system is called Wii but like it's just so the reason that system exists and like was successful is because of Wii Sports.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep.
All right. My W is for the wheel attachment, which comes about during the Wii era, where you would insert a Wii remote into a wheel.
Came packed in with every copy of Mario Kart Wii.
That's right. And if you wanted to buy another one on that same day, you could, because I did. And it's something that made my friends and I sort of maniacally loyal to motion controls on Mario Kart Wii. And it was only years later that I discovered that that's not how everyone played the game.
Yeah, I basically never engaged with the motion controls.
Right. We basically only ever played, and we had two wheels, and everyone else would just use the Wii remote without it. But like, even though there were a ton of other different control methods, we were like, no, we play it all motion controls. And I don't think that's the best way to play any of these games, but like it is a totally viable option, and you can get really good. And we did, and they continue to sell these wheel controllers for Joy-Con and for Joy-Con 2, partially because Mario Kart is so ubiquitous as a multiplayer experience that like you need to be able to just like hand a controller to anyone, including people who aren't familiar with using controllers. So just the wheel facilitates that.
Yeah, that's great.
My X is for a game that Mark once described as looking like F-Zero X. The first time that the F-Zero series actually embraced multiplayer, because the original F-Zero on the Super NES, no multiplayer. By the Nintendo 64 and F-Zero X, you can play split screen multiplayer.
Yeah, F-Zero, a series that outside of the Super Nintendo, I don't really have that much experience with.
I'll say this: the F-Zero games too fast. You go too fast in them. I don't like it. I can't control it. If I'm driving around in my car, let's go kind of fast.
Yeah.
Sometimes when it's safe. Do I ever want to go 900 miles an hour? No.
See, I think if we were a bounty hunter living in the world in the year 3000, we might feel different.
We might feel differently. That's true.
Very good.
I wish I could remember off the top of my head how big the population of Mute City is. It's like 100 million or something. Or maybe it's a billion. Maybe it's a billion people live in Mute City.
Well, support Mute City artists, right?
Yes,
As
of course.
we always say.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, my X is for X Factor, and I think that kind of like Wii Sports plays into this. Everybody does online multiplayer now, but
yes,
couch co-op, that like shared in-room experience, is a Nintendo specialty that I don't think any other video game publisher does as well or has as baked into like all of their experiences.
Yes.
I think when Nintendo
certainly not that scale. Obviously, like indies have kind of evolved
absolutely.
Into that
we
space.
talked about like Overcooked as an example
Yes.
of that. But I just feel like when Nintendo, for the vast majority of their franchises, there are exceptions like
Zelda.
Right, or like even multiplayer focused ones like Splatoon, where this is not the case.
Yes.
But I think that when they think about multiplayer, they are generally thinking about the in-person experience first and the online component second.
Yes.
And the online component
Totally
is more like, how do we reproduce the in-person experience as much as possible?
Right. They put a little camera that you had to put in your living room.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's very unique to Nintendo. I think that is their like X factor when it comes to multiplayer.
Yep, I totally agree.
So my Y is for your turn, which is an experience that I had a lot growing up. You know, I had older siblings, and when you would be playing a video game, you know, like we've been talking a lot about multiplayer as games that were specifically designed for multiple people to be playing.
Yes.
But I also think about it as where you are in a room together and one person is playing and maybe you're waiting for your turn, or maybe you're just there experiencing, you know, them playing through it, but it's still...
And participating, right? Being like, remember this thing was over here, or being like, let's check out the loadout that we're using. You know, like there's, I always think that the experience of playing a game with another person where you're not actually ever touching the controller is like a supremely underrated thing. And I think is part of why like Twitch is so popular, that like you can sort of simulate that sort of thing. But like there's really, man, when like a Last of Us game comes out, like it is, I just want to play that in a room with a friend who is like participating in the gameplay, if not actually playing the game.
I've talked about it before, but one of my favorite video game memories as a kid was when my oldest sister beat Super Mario Brothers 3 for the first time.
Yes.
And we were all crowded around the TV watching her maneuver it, you know, and like taking on Bowser, figuring out how that fight works, dying, going through the castle again, and just being the most excited when she finally defeated Bowser, totally falling for the sorry Mario, this princess is before the ha shows up. Yeah, like I wasn't actively playing, but that's still one of my favorite video game experiences.
Totally.
Together.
It's funny when I was working on this list, working on my list last night, and you know, I was like, geez, these are all hard. Like, you know, it's just it's a tough thing to look up, or to like find, you know, aids to like get you to places where you have things to say. And for B, for a little bit, I was like, brother, and Sarah was like, yeah, what's the first game you remember playing with your brother? And I was thinking about it, and like, we didn't play any 2-player games together. Like all of my memories playing games with him are like Metroid, Resident Evil, Metal Gear Solid. And that's totally a handing the controller back and forth and being like, now it's your turn. You take on this boss. Here, you're better at driving this thing than I am. Oh, here, I can't get through this room with the zombies. So, like, you do it. That a single player game very quickly becomes multiplayer when you just have another person there to share it with.
Absolutely. This is not on my list at all, but I was talking about Super Mario Brothers 3. I do want to mention one really cool thing that game does.
Sure.
Is if you're playing 2 players, so one person is Mario, one person is Luigi. When it's another player's turn, if they are passing over a level tile that has already been beaten, if you press like the B button, it takes you into Super Mario Brothers. Or no, Mario Brothers.
And it's not a level that's been beaten. It's where the other player last ended their turn.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It takes you to Mario Brothers.
Uh-huh.
You play a level of Mario Brothers, and if the person whose turn it was dies in that game of Mario Brothers, then
they cede their turn to the other player.
Then they cede their turn to the other player.
And you can knock out the cards that they get from the end of the levels, the mushroom, flower, star.
Uh-huh.
Which, like, none of that stuff really matters, but like it's what a cool little thing that they just added in there.
Yeah, a little bit of like competition, a little bit of like little stinkerism.
Yep.
Yeah.
Little stinkerism. I love it when it comes up on these lists. I do. I also think that that's like maybe the best way to play Mario Brothers.
Completely agree.
Like there's no other. I mean, hey, in February when they start putting out Virtual Boy games, we will have access to Mario Clash. So I'll take it back then. But right now, the best way to play Mario Brothers is within Super Mario Brothers 3.
Completely agree.
An excellent why. Your turn. Perfect. My why is for Yoshi's Woolly World. A game that, and Crafted World did this as well. It just allows you to play the whole game as 2 players at the same time. And like, because the Yoshi games are so much slower than the Mario platformers and are so much more about like really exploring and like getting through the end of a level without losing health and without all this kind of stuff, like you're doing a lot more management of it and a lot less like platforming, can make it really useful to have 2 characters in there, like seeing more stuff, feeling out more corners of the world, activating more hidden question marks and stuff like that. Also in Yoshi's Woolly World, the fact that you unlock every level has like a different yarn set in it that you can find and unlock to like re-yarn your Yoshi. So there are just like, I don't know, probably 100 different colors of Yoshi that you can play as, or patterns. And like you could scan an amiibo and get like patterns based off those characters. So it's just always fun to like try out different Yoshis. You can get a Yoshi that was like a spotted cow. Cool. That's cool. Yoshi's Woolly World, a game that I maintain is good, but is great when playing with a second player. So that's my why. Now my Z
brings us to Z.
Okay, so we'll do mine first because I think Triforce Heroes is more fun to talk about than Zombies Ate My Neighbors on the Super NES.
Oh, yes.
A LucasArts game from 1993. You play as Zeke and Julie to rescue the titular neighbors from the titular zombies and other various like Universal monster style creatures. Has a sort of hilarious, campy B-movie sci-fi aesthetic to it. I mean, one of your characters is wearing 3D glasses, like the old red and blue 3D glasses. Not a game I particularly like that much, but it is one of those that is conceptually perfect. Run around top down shooting zombies, and it's like funny. Yeah, perfect.
We played a little of this together.
We did.
When we did like a zombie themed Halloween episode, or was it a... Did we do... Because we talked about Zombie U.
Uh-huh.
We talked about this game.
Uh-huh.
And we talked about Resident Evil 6, I think.
Is that right?
Another, like...
I guess you're right, yeah.
Yeah, for, like, Halloween in 2018, probably, or something like that.
Yeah, I couldn't think of the third game, but that's probably right that it was Resident Evil.
Another multiplayer game.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So that brings us to The Legend of Zelda Triforce Heroes.
Yes.
A game that I can't extol the virtues of enough, but really kind
But
of...
we will try by bringing it up on multiple
yeah.
episodes of this show and other shows that we go on. Yes.
But I also feel like in Triforce Heroes has a lot of the elements that we have discussed throughout this entire ABCs. It's a game that was designed for in-person play first, but you can play it online. It doesn't
Not recommended.
Yeah, it doesn't have voice chat, but they introduce like emotes that allow you to kind of
Yes.
like, send messages that way.
Which are hilarious and fun to use.
Yeah, I think it's a game that's has been maligned, but incorrectly. Like has a bad reputation for
No reason.
For no reason.
It the thing is it's maligned but also sort of memory hold, right? It is not Metroid Prime Federation Forces.
Right.
Because that game is maligned and remembered as bad, right? Whereas
and hated for existing.
Whereas Triforce Heroes, people are like, oh, that was that multiplayer one. I didn't play that.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
I don't
that's
know anything
true.
about it.
It also has some of that like overcooked element we were talking about where,
Absolutely.
you all three of you need to be working together
Yes.
to solve the problems.
Mhm.
And there's like a time crunch, like there's pressure.
Yes.
And so you're like fumbling with the controls, and when, you're falling off the totem and all that kind of stuff, like...
Well, and the totem part of it is so funny because like it is one of those things where like you can pick each other up, and to stack like high, you also have to be like stacked in the right order. And so like kind of internalizing what order you have to pick each other up in is it's a spatial like reasoning thing that like sometimes you wrap your brain around immediately and sometimes you just can't.
Mhm.
And when it's in that moment of you have like 10 seconds left and you have to get this done now, and everyone else understands but you don't, and your friends are yelling like, no, pick me up now, pick me up now, it's a magical little bit of like game alchemy that I don't really see in anything else.
Yeah, I've said it before, and I'll continue to say it. This game should be remade for Switch 2.
100%, or just Switch 1, like it doesn't matter.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that'd be great.
I mean, Switch 2 probably better because game chat, right?
Uh-huh.
But yeah, it just, and why it didn't work on the 3DS, like I think just people weren't like ready to engage with the 3DS that way.
I think there just weren't. I think the other part of the problem is that there just were not that many 3DSs out in the world compared to, and like
there were a lot of them though. I mean, like
I feel like you would have to do work to get a group together of like three 3DSs, 3 copies of the game. Like it just wasn't. It's not like Mario Kart where everybody has it.
That is true. Oh, and there's also like a component of like, I don't know. It's I'm sure kids could play it, but like it feels like a game that like an adult or like an older player should be playing, right? And that like those like adults are not that likely to be walking around with their 3DSs and playing together.
Uh-huh.
Like the time that you and I played it with friend of the show Matt Acevedo, we had to make like a specific date for that and roll it into a recording of this show about the game. Because it's just like it's hard to get people together for that kind of stuff without a purpose. But if it were on Switch 2 and you could do it with game chat, then it would be a golden magical experience.
Yeah. Oof. I really hope it happens.
And
hopefully this will be like that Nintendo Music app where we can will it into the universe.
Yeah, that's right. We did do that. But it also took forever. Do you remember
forever. Yeah. But the Switch 2 generation is going to be long.
Sure.
If we keep talking about
it. Start making wishes now.
Yeah.
I would also say that the music loud mode in Mario Kart World, that's another thing that we willed into existence.
Yeah, it got lost in translation a little bit.
It did, but I mean, I think the music app did as well. It got a little bit lost in translation. But it's baby steps.
Yeah,
we're making little improvements a little bit at a time. Okay, Mark, those are our ABCs of Nintendo multiplayer. Do you have any like takeaways about like your relationship to multiplayer games on Nintendo?
I love playing video games with other people.
Yeah, me too. And neither of us do it enough.
Completely agree.
Like, we are actually kind of bad at doing
Awful.
that. Like, really, even with each other.
Yeah.
We see each other to talk about Nintendo twice a week, every week.
Yep.
And I would say we play video games together maybe 3 times a year.
Yeah. No, it is. It is something that
That may be on the high side.
Hey, maybe we need to just like going to the movies. You know, we did
Yes.
a mini series of the Patreon. Maybe we need to do a mini series that is all about playing games together and kind
We-
of like get ourselves back in the habit.
I don't know if this will
Kickstart
work.
that.
I don't know if this will work
Uh-huh.
because we have threatened to do a co-op game month. I think for 3 years.
I know, and yeah, I know.
We'll crack it one of these days, Mark. Okay, let's close this out. And that is going to do it for this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society. That's going to do it for this year of Nintendo Cartridge Society. The next episode that we put out will come out on January 1st in 2026. We will no longer be in a new console launch year
Crazy.
for Nintendo.
Old news.
That's right. The Switch 2 will be old news. We will be burying it in the backyard. So we hope everyone has a happy and relaxing holiday, and thank you for hanging out with us for another year of NCS. Obviously, Mark and I love doing this show, and we love interacting with all of you in the Discord, on Patreon, wherever you're doing that. We appreciate it tremendously. If you're not in the Discord, you should be. Email us, Nintendo Cartridge Society at gmail.com. We'll send you an invitation. Let's see. That's it. Anthony DeLuca made our logo. Our theme music is provided by 8-Bit Betty. You can get more of his music by going to 8bitbetty.com or by listening right now. For my co-host, this is Patrick Eller saying thank you for listening.